according to the
Hearthstone'sPlayers.com.
Yes, the Beginner's Arena Guide, the best of these classes are Hunter. It's rated in the good category with only a Mage and Paladin being above it. So we're going to go with Rexar, the Hunter.
Something cool about this is, like, he doesn't have the best ability, it's his card quality. So right here we have 3 cards. I'm assuming that Knife Juggler is going to be first, and then Emperor Cobra, and then Wild Pyromancer. Kind of guesstimating where these are at is going to give us a better feel, and hopefully a better understanding of why these cards are good, right? Hearthstone is all about us trying to gain card advantage, and tempo is very important. How many spells you can play a turn, when you can play them, which isn't going to be that different from Magic, really. But card advantage is the name of the game, and Knife Juggler has a lot of potential for that. Whereas,
yeah, go ahead.
Emperor Cobra is a card that trades up. It has a lot of tempo, right? You spent 3 mana crystals on it, but it can trade up for anything that it can do damage with. So it can trade up for 8 or 10. It can kill their legendary. Wild Pyromancer is not bad. It's more of a build around me card. It probably has bonus points for picking it first according to the list. Some of the things say that it does, but whatever.
Yes, so we're actually going by the ADWCAT's Hearthstone Arena tier list. So we're trying to do the picks without actually looking at the list, but for confirmation, we'll be looking at the list. So if you've read the list, Knife Juggler is the highest, and it's a 74. Where I believe the next highest is the Cobra, just as Daniel said, at 62.
Right, and the Wild Pyromancer is not far behind at a 54. It's better than average. So we've got 3 more cards here. We have Unleash the Hounds, which I think is a really cool card, because if you have it early, you can kind of build around it a little more. It can be very powerful. We had it in the draft earlier, and it sucked because we had no interactions. And it still turned out okay. It was still like a fine card to see. It just wasn't an exciting card to see. I'm not sure if Micro Machine or Mech Warper is going to be better. Micro Machine has a higher ceiling, but it also has a lower floor, whereas Mech Warper has kind of a middle floor. If I had to guess, I would probably say it's going to go Micro Machine, and then Mech Warper just barely, and then Unleash the Hounds after them, because it's a little less inconsistent.
So, according to the table, Unleash the Hounds is actually a 68, and it has some notes to go along with it. The notes that go along with it are it's a very high first pick bonus. So I guess if you get it early, you can build around it a little bit better. So since it's the second pick, I guess that applies here. Mech Warper is second at 58, and then Micro Machine is 56. They're almost tied.
So they're all pretty close. The other thing to point out is, I didn't look at our list, but we should be. We're kind of going by blind picks right now. Knife Juggler plus Unleash the Hounds is amazing.
Yes, so. I agree. So I guess since it is this early in the draft, this is what we want to go with.
Right, and even if it wasn't, if we had a couple Knife Jugglers, we'd probably still pick Unleash the Hounds, looking at our deck.
Yes, every time I've ever played against a Knife Juggler, it's been insanely powerful. So I'm going to assume we're going to get into some blowout situations with that.
All right, so this is Snap Call, Multi-Shot, Leper Gnome, Oasis Snapjaw. Multi-Shot is usually a 2-for-1, and that's basically what this game is all about. And Leper Gnome is a 2-1-for-1, which isn't always good, but paying 4 for a 2/7 without taunt only seems okay. It's not really holding down the fort so much as being ignored.
Yes, so Multi-Shot is rated a 64, and having played Hunter before in Constructed, I can definitely say it does get 2-for-1s. Oasis Snapjaw is rated a 50, probably because it has a big toughness, or butt, as we generally call it.
Yeah, butt.
Magic.
But
And then Leper Gnome is a 48. It's rated as below average.
I was wrong on Leper Gnome because we don't want those small. One toughness is a big disadvantage in this game. I always forget about that. We're using the term 2-for-1. That just means that your one card probably gets 2 other cards, whether you drew another card or got 2 cards worth of effects or killed 2 of their cards.
Yes, and so a major point in most card games is card advantage. Just having more cards than your opponent, or virtually having more cards than your opponent. So you may have played the same number of cards, or you've played less cards than them, but your cards have counted for more or taken out the effects of more than their cards. Yeah.
So this is an interesting one. I think Freezing Trap is the worst because it's only a tempo effect. You don't actually gain a card. You lose a card from that, but you gain tempo. So if you're trying to race, it's good. I think Stone or Stranglethorn Tiger will be best. Dealt some powerful ability in this game. Lets you attack once for essentially free. It lets you trade very well. They can't really interact very easily with it. Stone Skin Gargoyle doesn't seem bad. It's the kind of card I'd want to put more stuff on. I think it's still better than Freezing Trap.
So, according to the guide, Stone Skin Gargoyle is actually rated a 2. It's the worst card of its class, which is a little surprising. I guess since you're a hunter, you don't really have any way to abuse it, whereas a priest may be able to abuse it by gaining cards from healing through other cards that you can typically get.
I don't know. I mean, Hunter does have the card that gives +2/+2 in taunt. Like, if you give the guy +2/+2 in taunt, he's really annoying.
Yeah, he's annoying. I guess he's not game winnable, so he's rated very lowly. The Tiger is rated the highest at 70 something, so he'll be our pick. But Freezing Trap is rated quite highly as well in the 50s. They did say that it has a slight first pick bonus and that quick diminishing returns if you draft a lot of those. So.
All right, Wisp is terrible.
I agree. It's also rated a 12 on the scale here, or in the terrible column.
All right, Spellbreaker will probably be the best. Probably quite higher than Worgen Infiltrator. Stealth is usually powerful, but with such low power, it's probably not nearly as good as it normally would be.
So Worgen Infiltrator is rated a 62, and Spellbreaker is rated a 66. Wow. So Worgen Infiltrator, I think the stealth in this game is so powerful that it gets much higher picks than you would. It gets much higher rankings than you would think. Even though it has very low power, it also has a low cost. Spellbreaker is still the best value by far, and Silencing a Minion can really save you a lot of trouble and a lot of cards. So some of the effects in this game are very overpowering very quickly.
All right, so these are two really powerful cards. Kill Command is deal 3 damage. 5 you have a beast. The thing about it is, even without the beast, killing things is big. Like, good removal is very rare in this game, but Cult Master lets you draw cards. And if you play it when you have other creatures, you can always draw a card. You can trade your creatures as 2-for-1s very easily. If you have a bunch of creatures that would trade either slightly not favorably or kind of bad, Cult Master just turns all those into drawing a card, which is amazing. So imagine Cult Master is far above these other cards.
So it's actually rated the same as Kill Command. However, I believe in our situation we want to take Cult Master because you always want one of these. Draw a lot of card kind of effects, and they're pretty rare in Hunter. So if we laid this on a full board, we could draw many cards in one turn. Not to mention we would replace all the cards we just possibly lost to theirs as they traded.
Right, and with cards like Knife Juggler and Unleash the Hounds, we're looking for that kind of swarm aggro.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to go ahead and guess on this next pick that Glaivezuka is very high up there. That's partially from experience and partially from the fact that equipment seems to be very highly ranked in this game, especially when you can take out their creatures with your equipment and basically use your hero to soak the damage or preemptively soak the damage while killing their creature, as opposed to having them hit you and then eventually having to kill with one of your cards or creatures.
Glaivezuka is another 2-for-1. You get to use this one card and probably kill 2 creatures at the cost of some small amount of life. Yes. And then it's probably followed by Kill Command, followed by Amani Berserker.
The Berserker is rated at 58, and I believe we talked about Kill Command being a 68 earlier.
And Glaivezuka was a 90.
Yes. Quite powerful.
It's that one attack. That makes a big difference. All right, I'm going with probably another Unleash the Hounds. Even if it's not that height with the Knife Juggler and the Cult Master, we're probably in a spot where Unleash the Hounds is worth a lot more than it normally would be. I also think it is the highest. But even if it wasn't, I would probably take it over something moderately comparable.
Well, so Unleash the Hounds is a high first pick bonus, as we talked about, but it doesn't get diminishing returns. So it is actually rated higher than Spellbreaker, but only by 2 points. It's a 68 versus a 66. But I would like as many of these as possible, so I will be taking this.
Web Spinner looks really good in our deck.
Yes, and Web Spinner is a pain to play against in Constructed, so it's probably rated quite highly. It's a 66 on the scale. The bluegill seems to be a card that gets played, but mostly in decks that want to achieve some sort of effect using the charge. And since we're not really going to be able to take much advantage of that, it's probably rated a lot lower. And I see it's a 52 on our scale.
Yeah, and Nightblade's 3 damage to an enemy hero is a lot worse than it seems. If it was 3 damage to enemy creature,
yes, a minion
shoots up because of the 2-for-1. But the life is such a non-valuable resource. Remember, you don't lose until you're at 0. So
yes. So Web Spinner is rated higher than all the rest of them, and can generate card advantage by adding another card to your hand.
Right, and we've got the Unleash the Hounds, the Knife Juggler, all these cool cards. All right, so here it's King of Beasts because Target Dummy and Light Warden are bad cards in our deck.
Yes, Light Warden is rated a 10. Target Dummy, I believe, is rated a 18, actually higher than the Light Warden. Both are very terrible.
King of Beasts is probably somewhere in the high 50s.
Low 50s, but yes, 52. He taunts, which I think is a very valuable ability in this game. Taunt allows blocking, which in Magic you attack the player and the enemy player determines if they're blocking. In this game, you have to have taunt to block. I feel like you slow a lot of people down a lot with taunt. And he actually battle cries to gain 1 attack for each of the beasts you have. And so the more beasts, the better. We've currently got 1, I believe.
No, we got Web Spinner and Unleash the Hounds. Or no?
And we've also got the Tiger, which is a beast.
Is Unleash the Hounds beasts or no?
They say hounds, but they don't say if hounds are a creature type or not. So I assume they're not beasts.
Hearthstone has a couple things that are a little sketch, but that's it. So this is interesting. Animal Companion gives us a random Beast Companion, which I rated lowly the first time I saw it because I didn't realize Beast Companions weren't all beasts. It was just the cream of the crop. It's probably going to be the pick, slightly over the Mech Warrior and Voodoo Doctor a lot lower. Voodoo Doctor's probably better than most 2-1s, other than the one with Stealth, though.
Voodoo Doctor is a 28. Yeah. The Mech Warper is a 58, but Animal Companion rates almost as high as you can go on the scale. At a 78. Oh, sorry. I guess you can go much higher, but of the much higher category, there's only 2 cards in the common category. Common or, in this case, basic.
Animal Companion just randomly picks from an amazingly high value pool of cards. Here it's going to be Mad Bomber. Mad Bomber has the potential for a 2-for-1 very easily. Remember, it can kill 1 creature, and you can attack it into another one to kill another creature. It has potential technically for like a 4-for-1, but sometimes it doesn't turn out well, but it's worth the risk. Venture Co-Missionary is probably the worst of the 3.
It's rated about in the middle, but yeah, it is much worse than the Mad Bomber. I think the other effect on the Venture Company will affect you just as much.
This is an interesting one. Whether a Hunter's Mark or Web Spinner is rated high, we probably want Hunter's Mark because this effect is very good with the 1-power creatures we already have, and we want unconditional removal, and this is very close to it. Knife Juggler, Mad Bomber, Glaive Zuka, Web Spinner, Unleash the Hounds, Multi-Shot. These can turn a 20 toughness creature into a 1 toughness creature. And that's really what we need, even though Web Spinner's really good.
Yes, Web Spinner's rated higher, but I think in our deck we want the Hunter's Mark. At least the first one. If another Hunter's Mark comes up, maybe we don't want it over something else. But the first one I would always like to have.
Alright, so here it's probably going to be Worgen Infiltrator. We can check our mechs. Tinkertown Technician is very nice if you have the mechs for it. It's 3 for a 4/4, and you get a spare part, which is just kind of a random effect, but most of the spare parts are worth playing, like worth having. Maybe not quite a card you'd put in, but it's a card and a half.
So the Timberwolf is rated the lowest, the Worgen is in the middle, I believe, and the Tinker is the first.
Alright, well we should check to see on our...
No, sorry, the Worgen is actually...
Yeah, we want to check to see our beasts, or our mechs. If we have probably like 4 or more mechs, it's probably worth it to take the Tinkertown, but I don't think we do.
I don't think we have any mechs, actually. We
really
do have a few beasts already, but the Worgen's rated higher, and this helps our other beasts, of which we have 1, 2...
Yeah, it's only the attack, though. With it being so easy to die, the Worgen is almost definitely the pick, and...
We'll go with that.
Alright, so here...
Ship's Cannon, rated dead 50.
Ship's Cannon's pretty solid. It's going to be Silverhand Knight or Tracking, and it's hard to say. With the combo pieces, Tracking is a lot better. right? If we have cards that are very synergistic, tracking gains a lot of value. I don't know really which way I would go.
So, I like cards that summon other cards. Those creatures that summon creatures. So for this one, you get 6 power divided among 2 creatures, and it only costs you 5, so that's good.
Yeah.
Tracking does help you with card advantage and card selection. However, I think I would rather just have a creature.
Yeah, it's
Or in
just
this
pure
case,
selection.
2.
We don't have enough. It's a lot better in constructed when you have more stronger synergies, and we have some strong synergies, but the 2 creatures is a lot of what we're looking for anyway. It's just multiple bodies.
Alright.
Okay, so it's going to be Ship's Cannon. The other 2 cards. I was surprised by Stonestone Gargoyle, but it's still not as good as that, and Narubar Weblord is a card that we don't really want to play. It's tricky. You would want to be playing a deck with not many Battlecry effects. And
Yes, and we're trying to get Battlecry effects because they generally give you an advantage. So,
if you got them early, maybe if you knew you were going to have a couple, I don't know. In Constructed, I can see playing multiples because you can build your deck not to play with Battlecry or to punish your opponent for playing Battlecry because people usually play that, but it's hard to do that in Limited.
yeah, so Ship's Cannon may end up just being a 2-3 for 2. It may never do its ability, but a 2-3 for 2 is still decent in this game.
We don't have any pirates. Okay, so here we have a more interesting selection. Ship's Cannon's probably not. It's probably Chillwind Yeti, Ship's Cannon, Silverback Patriarch. Maybe Silverback Patriarch's a little higher, but I'm going to go with Ship's Cannon ahead of Silverback Patriarch.
So Silver Patriarch is like a 2 or 4 or something. Ship's Cannon, we've already talked about it extensively. Chillwind Yeti is actually a 4/5 for 4 and is so good it's rated at 78, up there with Animal Companion.
But a big part of this is the rate to power and toughness right here. It's in the sweet spot, right? The 2-3 for 2 is not nearly as good as your 4/5 for 4, and it's just where the creatures kind of fall overall in this game, right? Ship's Cannon technically is better than Chillwind Yeti if you just look at the rate and abilities, because Chillwind Yeti is vanilla, which means it doesn't have abilities. But it just falls in that sweet spot, so it's a much better. It's a nice spread, too.
So now after 17 picks, we have somewhat of a curve forming here. Now, I haven't really figured out what you're looking for when you're playing Hunter, but I try to have at least some sort of curve. I don't want all 2s. I don't want all 3s. I don't want all 6s. I don't want all 6s and 7s. I want some early drops. I want some mid drops. I want some late drops.
Right, and you can do multiple late or early drops too. So here's an interesting spot. We know we don't want Leopard Gnome. Abusive Sergeant is probably rated higher, and it works well with our things like Web Spinner, letting Web Spinner trade for something with 3 toughness. But Flesh Eating Ghoul is also very good with a card like Mad Bomber, or with our Unleash the Hounds, right? It lets you make that trade too. Abusive Sergeant's probably better, and I think it's also higher rated.
It is higher rated, and I guess depending on our deck, Flesh Eating Ghoul and Abusive Sergeant can trade off. I like that the immediate Battlecry effect for 1 will allow one of our minions to trade, and hopefully will allow our Knife Juggler to throw a knife at something and make it weaker as well.
Yeah.
So
if Flesh Eating Ghoul was like a 0/5, I would think it would actually be a better card. The toughness being so low is unfortunately just...
Yeah, you're paying at least 1 mana for his ability, because you'll notice other things that are 2/3 or 2 cost. And I guess if you're winning, then this guy is pretty good. You kill whatever they play, you swim with him. But if you're kind of at parity, he's going to die very quickly because they don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So this is another. Well, it's interesting. Explosive Trap and Multi-Shot. Explosive Trap. I think Multi-Shot is probably... Well, I don't know. It's hard. Explosive Trap has a higher ceiling, and it has a lower floor. I think it's Multi-Shot, Explosive Trap, Ironford, Grizzly, and I think they're all kind of high.
Well, so Explosive Trap, Multi-Shot, Ironford, Grizzly is how it lands. I've had great success with this playing as Hunter and Constructed. I don't know how many people are going to walk into this. There aren't very many secrets when you play as Hunter. It's pretty much just the return something to the hand, Freezing Trap, and Explosive Trap that I've seen. I don't know if you've seen any further ones. So
now, The other part with it too is people try to play slower, more mid-range decks.
I was looking at the wrong card. It is actually Explosive Trap is rated much lower in this.
Yeah.
I was looking at Explosive Shot.
I think
still noobs, people. Still noobs.
Very new.
So multi-shot is actually rated the highest. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
So.
People just play bigger creatures. There's not as much synergy, so smaller creatures are worse. Right? Because we have 2 Murlocs, and the Murloc deck has a potential as a... King of Beasts is the best card. But Murlocs have potential kind of as a small synergistic tribe and constructed. They're terrible across the board in draft just because you can't get the right ones. You can't build this deck. Whereas, that card we just showed, Explosive Trap, would wreck a Murloc deck. They're all very tiny.
Yes, he's right. King of Beasts, looks like we're having 2 of those.
That's right.
Which is pretty uncommon.
Okay, here we go. Murloc Tidehunter is one of the... Oh, let's move Mad Bomber. Murloc Tidehunter is probably one of the better Murlocs. It's just 2 creatures for 1. It's okay. It's probably Raging Worgen, then Dread Corsair, then Tidehunter. Maybe Tidehunter's higher. I mean, getting 2 bodies is nice, but you are paying another mana for it, so it's not...
Tidehunter rated a 48. Raging Worgen a 52.
Okay, so that's Dread Corsair probably in the last.
Dread Corsair is an 18. So I guess it's between these 2, whichever we think our deck can support the best. I noticed we have a lot less 3-drops than 2s and 4s and 5s even. So maybe we want to fill in that gap, or maybe we want to try to stay lower to the curve with the Tidehunter.
With the Knife Juggler and the stuff we have, I think more bodies is better. That's kind of, Taunt is the other thing I would think about, because we want to protect our synergistic creatures, but Dread Corsair is just not that good. It's really expensive for it. There's hopefully a better taunt card on the way. We have 10 more shots. Yeah,
it is cheaper for the attack of our weapon. However, we've still only got the 1 Glaive Zuka so far, which is a little uncommon. So I think we're going to go with Tidehunter here, even though it's rated a little bit lower.
Yep. About halfway through, you're looking for more synergy. Alright, so here we're probably actually picking Dread Corsair. Acolyte of Pain does seem nice, but we really don't have anything to do with it in our deck.
So, a mini Berserker is rated average, and it's a 58. The Acolyte of Pain is rated a 48, and the Dread Corsair, it's an 18.
It is low, but we are getting... Neither of these cards are exciting for us.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close to the end, and we don't have very much taunt except for our 2 rares here.
What other taunt do we have? Early taunt is something we want to do. With a synergy-based deck, it'd be nice for us to be able to protect creatures. And,
yeah, I'm not seeing anything else with taunt, actually.
Right, and the Berserkers and the Acolyte of Pain don't really bring that much to us. The Pain has potential to draw its cards, but we have a lot of card advantage. I'd like to protect it. Which is a weird pick, but... Sometimes you're going to take cards that seem bad because you want your deck to work a certain way.
That's true. All right, we're going to try it.
Hey, Eagle Horn Bow. I don't know what that is, but it's equipment, so it's probably good. So what do we actually have? Gnomish Experimenter is an interesting card. The less creatures you have, the better it is. The more creatures you have, it just turns out to be mostly a wash. You actually draw essentially 1 creature. A 1/1 chicken, which is actually pretty good in our deck, surprisingly. Jeeves is a symmetrical card that works better with the more things you can play, so it would be fine in our deck as well. But we're still probably taking Eagle Horn Bow. I don't really know what it does.
It's rated quite highly.
But it's equipment.
Yeah, whenever Friendly Secret reveals game 1 durability, I don't think we have but maybe 1 secret. I don't even think we have any.
But it doesn't
But
matter.
it's still 3 attack and 2 uses for 3.
Alright, so it's probably another... Oh, it's tough, because we're in Kill Commander Glaive Zuka. I think it's actually Glaive Zuka.
Especially since we took the kind of weak pick earlier. Glaive Zuka rated a 90, we already talked about that. Tundra Rhino rated a 46, and Kill Command is rated a 68. So Glaive Zuka wins on just the numbers game, and it probably is more synergistic in our deck, not to mention it allows 2-for-1s. So.
Yeah, it's just better. I mean... so much.
I never feel bad about taking equipment, especially playing Hunter.
Alright, we're probably at Cobra Shot, Shattered Sun Cleric, and Booty Bay Bodyguard for, alliteration fans.
Yes, Booty Bay Bodyguard rated a 28, but has a great name, 100% on name. Shattered Sun Cleric rated a 68 because of its 2-for-1 ability. And Cobra Shot is rated a 30.
Wow, it's because they're so expensive. I think we should go through Sunclear. Interesting thing about the Booty Blade card is, remember the 4 mana 4/5 is rated highly. The 5 mana 5/4 with Taunt shows us how important those specific stats are. Glaive Zuka here, easily, followed by probably Scarlet Crusader, and then Nomarian Infantry.
So the Scarlet Crusader is actually rated at 68, which is close to Glaive Zuka, but I don't think you can have too many Glaive Zukas. I wouldn't want a deck of all Glaive Zukas, but I don't think 3 is a problem.
Alright, so here we are probably at Explosive Trap.
Well,
No, I don't know if we need that.
So Ironfur Grizzly is rated at 46, and Explosive Trap...
It's lower, but I'm thinking about the composition of our deck. I think the actual rating is going to be Jungle Panther, Ironfur Grizzly, Explosive Trap. I think the cards we want in order are Ironfur Grizzly, Explosive Trap, Jungle Panther, which is odd, but the taunt cards have a lot of stuff to protect there. And the Jungle Panther is very good. It's going to normally trade up. You're normally going to get a player 3 card and kill what you want, but we don't really lack for killing stuff, oddly.
I don't think so. I believe I think I'm going to go with the Ironfur Grizzly here. Well, as a decision, we're going to go with the Ironfur Grizzly. But I believe the Jungle Panther would be better in a different situation, as it's rated.
If we didn't have things to protect, it would be Jungle Panther easily. Where's Jungle Panther? It's probably way up there.
Jungle Panther is rated at 58.
That is surprisingly low for 3 mana 4/2.
And so it's actually rated slightly higher than the Ironfur Grizzly at 46. But I'm thinking that.
Yeah.
So, thinking this is best for our deck. Flare. I actually never encountered this. It's rated at 58. They all step, destroy all secrets, and draw a card.
So in Magic, this is what we called a sideboard card. There's no sideboards in this game, which means things, because it's a single match in Hearthstone. It's a card that's either going to be amazingly powerful because your opponent has 1 or more secrets. If they have 1 secret or the stealth losing becomes relevant, it's great. The opportunity cost for this is very low, though, because you draw a card. It replaces itself. It's just costing you a little bit of mana. It also costs us a pick, though. So you've got Young Priestess, and that seems like something someone's going to kill very quickly. If we had a lot of taunt, it would be fine. We don't. Wailing Soul, which is powerful. It has silences all of our guys, though. We need to see if that's something we can afford to do. If all of our guys have effects, we can't really afford to put a Wailing Soul in unless the rest of our stuff is dead. So for me, it would be Wailing Soul, if it can fit in our deck, or Flare as a situational card that we might not want to play, but either we have better stuff to play early, or it's very late and the 2 mana cost is not as impactful. Hopefully. I mean, it's a card.
So on the list, Young Priestess and Wailing Soul are actually rated equally.
Really?
So
what is that rating?
Young Priestess 44 and Wailing Soul 44.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think they would just kill your Young Priestess.
I suppose if you throw it behind a taunt minion, it's hard to kill, but... Oh, and it says at the end of your turn, so you always get the 1 health as long as you have another creature. So you get it your 1 turn before.
Yeah.
So I think Wailing Soul is probably best for our deck.
Let's give a quick check on our...
on our curve?
On our battle curve, right. We want to make sure that silence isn't the thing that's crushing us.
Right.
That doesn't matter for that. That's 2 cards.
Silence is taunt.
Which is a big deal.
And
that's about
base,
so far.
yeah.
So it's just 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not 6.
Well, not Juggler.
That's yeah, but it's not 7, 8. It's about a third of our deck, but still, Wailing Soul is
so
quite strong.
Either one of these is a fine pick. We don't have very many 1-drops. I don't know how important that's going to be. You probably wouldn't want to drop this on first turn anyway.
Young Priestess is also likely to give one of our bad multiple creatures that toughness bonus. I think it's better when you have less creatures than more.
Maybe.
Yeah, that random thing doesn't favor us when we have, a bunch of 1 power, 1 toughness, or 2 toughness creatures at that point.
Alright, so I think we're going to go with Wailing Soul then.
Yeah.
Does that sound good? Alright.
I don't...
2 more picks.
Oh.
Another Unleash the Hounds or a multi-shot, which, how many we have 2 multi-shot and 2 Unleash the Hounds.
We really need to look at what the deck wants us to do here.
So the Brewmaster is rated a 48. I think we've talked about that.
Right. The actual numbers are probably multi-shot, Unleash the Hounds, Brewmaster. It actually might be Unleash the Hounds multi-shot. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's Unleash the Hounds multi-shot on paper. and then Youthful Brewmasters below them.
So then it's definitely just Unleash the Hounds. Like,
yeah, I think you can't have too many of these.
hopefully we'll get the Unleash the Hounds Glavezuka pick, and then we actually have to think about things. Okay.
Wow, I'm thinking Sunwalker is going to be really high on this list.
Right. Chaos End Mystic is another card that's probably better than Constructed. You're not normally going to have a secret to take. It's fine. But the fact that one of the secrets counters creatures is just, like, rough for two.
Yeah. So Sunwalker is far and above the rest of the picks. Taunt Divine Shield is a potent combination.
This is ordering,
It's also the only 6-drop we have. So
we have a lot of synergy, though. We have a lot of things we can do together. There are cards to hold back, definitely, in our deck. All right, let's go scrub out.
yes. First attempt to scrub out. It might find us a worthy opponent. I have once encountered a Penniless Paladin.
That's true.
So.
Penny Pinching Paladin. Shout out to our friend Zach.
Yes. Please don't start shout outs. Not this early.
This early. just, you don't know him, so it'll be great. It's an inside